Good evening, everyone. Hi, my name is Crystal. I'm sure you already know me, those that are on my Facebook, but I am with a beautiful special guest, Shakina. And if you have been following our Facebook journey for this month, we have been honoring the feminine. Last week, we obviously lost a bit of momentum and we could not go live, but certainly please go back to week 1 and week 2 where we really got involved in women's circles and massage and really honoring the feminine and looking after women's health. So tonight it's all about women going through their journeys into motherhood. So pre, post, all of that exciting stuff, which I'm really excited to hear from Shakina because I think it's really relatable when you have your own story. So any mothers on the line, if you have any questions or thoughts, or if you are pregnant and this is your first time, please feel free to ask anything you need in the feed. And we'll try and get to those questions. And if we don't, we'll answer them at the end. And also share and like the video. If you know anyone in your life that would benefit to learn more about this topic in particular, but any of the lives that we have done, please share the love. It's all about paying it forward this month. So we'll touch base on paying it forward at the end as well. We've got some more exciting things. So Tammy's on, Jasmine, Rachel, thank you so much for jumping on. Well, we'll go straight into it with my first line of questioning. Let me look at my book. But no, I think it's really important for us to talk more on that transition, that rites of passage throughout motherhood. And if you could really elaborate on that journey, that would be amazing. Let's start there.
Let's start there. So last episode, we spoke a lot about rites of passage, so coming of age with the girls' circles and how it's so important for us to see different transformational times as a rite of passage so that we can integrate it and understand it more deeply. And for me, birthing, the whole birthing journey, pregnancy, birth, and postnatal, especially that 4th trimester and that return journey home, it's just a powerful cycle that follows that hero's journey, follows that rite of passage. And when you can see like pregnancy as the preparation time, and then birthing as that initiation and the ordeal that happens in the hero's journey, and then that return journey home, that last segment of that medicine wheel, bringing us back, you know, with the integrating, it's just, it can make something that society sort of downplays these days. I mean, women are pregnant all the time, you know, there's millions and millions of pregnant women all across the planet, and we forget what an incredible miracle it is and what a transformational journey it is, especially that first time when not just a baby is being born, but a mother is being born. So when we can see that whole process as a rite of passage and welcome it that way, understand it that way, acknowledge it that way, so much more growth can come from,
And it's interesting you say that because I was going to lead into the significance of actually embracing that. But it is obviously for a more pleasant journey, a more open experience to a lot of change that does happen mentally and physically. So we don't need to really touch base on that unless you had more to elaborate.
Well, something did just spark with what you said. Okay, good. That one of the important things about is that we get so used to controlling all of the different aspects of our lives these days. We've all got schedules and reminders and things to keep us on track. We're so busy that everything has its time, everything has its place. And birth is, in its natural form, a very raw, wild, vulnerable, chaotic, you know, deep journey, and it can be quite confrontational. And a lot of women haven't been to that place within themselves before, and certainly not in front of other people, like their partners or random doctors, nurses, midwives. So being able to see birth as a rite of passage, I think, helps you go where you need to go during your birthing journey, and it also helps, I guess, understand that there's no perfect recipe for the perfect birth. Because a rite of passage isn't like, oh, we do this and it's all just fun and it's easy and it's, you know, the rite of passage is challenging, it is confronting, because we're growing, we're finding new depths, we're finding our gifts, we're finding our medicine. And so when something might not go to plan during birth, whether it is in pregnancy, whether it is in labor, whether it is in that 4th trimester, having that concept of it being a rite of passage helps you, I guess, step up to those challenges with a completely different perspective, instead of like these horrible things have happened to me, or I mean, it can help reduce the feelings of trauma that can happen as well.
Yeah. It's so funny that you say the trauma thing, because look, personally, I haven't had the birthing journey. I do have a beautiful son in my life, but I wasn't the one that birthed him. So that whole transitional period didn't really affect me until post that time. But people close to me, friends, family, who have had their pregnancies, you know, for some of us, we might have that control. We like to plan and control everything. We've got the birth plan and we've spoken to the midwife, and this is what we're going to take, and this is what we're going to do. And unfortunately, it doesn't always go to plan, and there is such a high rate of trauma for women. And it's possibly because of the expectations we put on ourselves, and also society that puts on us.
So many expectations that we put on ourselves and that society put on us.
I think we'll just, that's bypassed a question. Let's jump to that one, just because it's flowing there. I would love to hear anybody that, or any of the mums on the line, like, did your pregnancy actually go to plan? Did you get to your 40 weeks and then, you know, like, it was like bookwork, you just knew exactly how it was going to go and it all worked out for you? Or was there quite that ratio of women out there that, anything can happen? And what was your experience? And unfortunately, I say that unfortunately only because I didn't feel like there's enough out there right now for women and mothers to deal with that next step of motherhood, because that trauma is so significant. But let's bring it back to even your own personal journey and society. Like, you are a beautiful mom, so you just certainly walk the talk. But what kind of pressures did you feel that you put on yourself, and even in society? Because you were working full-time at that point when you were pregnant? Or?
I was working, that's like a whole big story to go into. I might not take you there.
Okay, sorry. I just threw that question in there.
I had eased off. I was going into part-time work throughout the end of pregnancy. But I guess because we all, like, our birthing stories start way when we're young, you know, from how our mother or our auntie or our grandmothers, or what we've seen on TV, like, we all create these different birthing stories. And my birthing story, because my mum had gone into birth quite easily with both of her children and had been quite faster. She went into hospital, had a baby, she went home. And I was just like, that's just what's going to happen to me. And then a few things didn't go according to plan, and all of a sudden I had a cascade of interventions which I didn't understand. So for me, my biggest fear came true, and I've learned a lot through that. So even though I can hear you say, unfortunately, when it doesn't go to plan, so much growth comes from those places. So much growth has come from that, what felt like a traumatic experience for me at the time. And while I didn't appreciate it for quite a long while, I have grown so much, and it's allowed me to offer what I offer now. Like, it has been the inspiration for what I want to bring into a woman's life, you know, whether it's through pregnancy, but definitely through postnatal, because while I felt like there probably was a lot of stuff throughout pregnancy that, you know, you get supported, because people see that you're pregnant and, you're getting bigger and all those sorts of things, and how can we help? Don't do that. Don't lift this. But once you've had the baby, it's almost like, okay, you've had the baby, you're back into life. And
and you're supposed to just know what to do and what to step into.
And there's no real acknowledgement of the massive changes that have gone through, of the identity shifts that have happened, you know, of that whole stage of what I like to share with mothers, where you were the caterpillar and then you turned into the goo, where you were nothing, and then the new mother is emerging as a butterfly. And what does that look like? And what do you need to let go of? What have you let go of? What do you want to pick up again? There's a massive psychological journey that goes on, which is why seeing it as a rite of passage is really important and valuable as well. Because when you can see it that way, and you realize that maybe some things that were important to you before aren't important anymore, and some things that weren't are, and that you have full permission to be able to make those changes because you're not the same. There's some aspects that are the same, but you're not the same. You are a transformed person.
Yeah. I'd have to agree with that. I think, you know, you're Shakina always. However, you weren't prepared for motherhood. Like, you've never been a mother before.
No.
And no one prepares you to be a mother.
Really.
They might show you how to breathe or how to wrap a baby, probably when to feed and how much they should weigh and what they will look like in increments with little apps. But you're right. It feels like once you've had your beautiful baby and everything seems healthy, you go home and good luck to you.
And everyone has a different opinion in society of what a good mother or a good parent is. So, you know, if you put your baby in care, you know, as soon as you can and go back and do full-time work because that's what works for you and your family, and that feels like, you know, what you feel good parenting and good mothering is, someone is going to have a vocal problem with that. And if you decide you're not going to go to work and you're going to stay at home and you're going to full-time care for your children, someone's going to have a vocal problem with that. And if you decide to try and balance the two in whatever way works for you and your children and your family, someone's going to have a problem with that. Like, there really is this sense in society that I've experienced that no matter what option I choose, someone's going to have a problem with it and try and guilt me or shame me or make me feel like I'm not a good mother, or I'm not contributing enough to society, or I'm not this or I'm not that. And that can be very frustrating. And, you know, mother guilt isn't just a pretend thing. Like,
it's real.
It's something that society contributes to almost on a daily basis. And, you know, one of the things when I was looking back at this for our talk today really triggered for me when I, you know, was going through my cancer journey as well. It felt like a similar experience where when someone found out that I had cancer, they had an opinion on what I should or shouldn't be doing, whether they'd had cancer or not. And everyone was an expert. And there was so much information, and it was all contradictory information. And what I had to do was come to a place where I could gather all of the information, especially those pieces that resonated for me, and trust in myself and trust in my intuition that the choices I were making were the right ones for me. And that's how I feel motherhood and parenting is as well. There's a book that says let them cry it out until they're quiet. There's a book that says never put them down. You know, there's everything, but every baby is different. We all have our own personalities.
And how you choose to raise your baby is okay, and you can be okay with that.
When there's love, I mean, all I can ever say is that if you think you're a bad parent or you're questioning whether you're good enough, then you're probably pretty awesome, because if you're even going to question it, and it means that you care and that you care deeply. And that's one of the most important things that we can have.
So I think it's really important for the message to come across tonight that, you know, women should look out for other women. That has been our whole time with women's circles, with massage, looking after each other. And obviously probably adopting certain things that would help them or help you throughout your journey, whether that's pre and post pregnancy. So I guess maybe, do you have some tools or resources or ideas on what women should be adopting throughout those times to help their journey flow a lot better, or maybe even just support them as the women going through it over just the baby? Because it does become all about the baby, but let's talk more on the women.
It does become all about the baby, and I don't like shoulds because everyone is different and needs different things.
That's true.
But yeah, I mean, from pregnancy, there's so many things we have to stop doing during pregnancy. Things you can't eat, stuff you can't do, medications you can't take, whether you're feeling sick or, you know. So that's one of the reasons why I love pregnancy massage, because it is something pleasurable and valid, and it works. So it can be really good for lots of different ailments that are going on. You know, I love the idea, again, coming back to it being a journey, of making sure your partner's coming along for the ride.
That is very beneficial.
Like really, really important. I think it's like, well, the last time I looked at the figures, it was like 1 in 3 women suffer from postnatal depression. And the reason that most women get postnatal depression is because they're unsupported with this major 24/7 job that's just landed on their lap that they're not prepared for, and that no person should be needing or having to do on their own. And I've met some men who are like, they're the whole way, like it's a rite of passage for them too, because they're becoming a father for the first time, and they are choosing to see it that way. And the men that do see it that way usually are just the best partners, the best supporters. They have that awareness around that they're not gonna, you know, because when it was just the two of you, especially if it's your first child, you're used to each other getting the attention. Yeah. We all know, those of us who have had a baby, that when a baby comes along and they are getting the attention and they are getting all the attention, and when they're not getting the attention, you are sleeping or doing something for yourself just to get some needs met. And so partners really can miss out, but when they can see it and understand it again as a rite of passage in this journey that they're moving through, instead of feeling rejected or slighted or, you know, resentful, they can see how important, oh my God, how vitally important their role is for holding the mother and holding the baby during that, you know, that baby moon, that 4th trimester, really at least through that first 12 months for most people. Yeah, realistically. And when they can go on that journey too, it's remarkable. It's really remarkable.
It doesn't always happen. I think there's a lot of shock. There's the stats being 1 in 3 women going through that. Like, obviously fathers aren't prepared. The pressures of life providing, because the fathers have feelings too. Let's be real. Like, they may not be, their body may not be changing like a woman's, and you know, the hormonal changes might not be there for a man, but that whole process of changing the dynamic of a relationship, preparing for this new person to be in their lives forever, and then obviously keeping up to whatever society suggests that you have to provide, you have to be there, you have to be the best parent, and all of that. It's a lot of pressure on both. So, and we can live in such isolated family units these days. You know, we used to have grandparents, aunts and uncles and cousins, and and I mean, I know that I didn't have that. None of my friends had children when I gave birth, so you know, there wasn't that going on. I'm an introvert, so I wasn't particularly looking at going out to meet strangers when I still felt quite vulnerable and raw and broken wide open. So there was that isolation there too. So it's so, I feel like I just keep harping on postnatal. But that's probably the biggest time. Yeah, I mean, I know all sorts of things can go on during pregnancy, and some women really do need a major amount of support during that. All sorts of things can happen. But for me, it just keeps coming back to, is the family coming together? Is the tribe coming together? Is the village helping to raise the child? You know, are we seeing it as a group thing, or are we just going, that's for you to do? Why can't you keep the house clean and get food on the table and make sure the baby's happy? And then now why are you falling apart? I feel like that's such real talk. Like that is the reality. I'm sure there's lots of mums that are either watching this recording or watching this right now that is like, there is that. That is happening right now. Probably not. No, probably is not the word. You're not looking after yourselves. You're putting everybody else first. And that's why we've really done this month. So before we elaborate further on your beautiful massage and other treatments that you have available for women, I wanted just to highlight, we have the Pay It Forward challenge, or not really a challenge, like competition, which Shakina Lee is running. And it's really beautiful because it really is an opportunity for yourself to write down and nominate a friend, friend or a family member or someone that you know that really does deserve to win a beautiful prize. I might let you elaborate on the prizes available. Again, we'll share the link in this live at the bottom, so please tap on that link on the competition. Nominate as many times as you like. I'm sure there's probably a few people that could utilize this, or even pay it forward even further by sharing that competition around. So I know I've nominated a few people. I've got a few other people in mind, but let's talk more, okay, on for the purpose of this live now with the women that are pregnant. So pregnancy massage is available right up until and even post-baby, maybe there's
and again, yeah, so it comes back to trusting your intuition. I know as a rule of thumb, if we're going to use that term, a lot of people don't want to get massaged in that first trimester, so up into the first 3 months, and that really is your choice. Some women really feel afraid to do so, and others just want to get massaged the whole way through. I personally believe, as someone who has had fully pregnant, you know, ready to pop mamas going, oh my God, do anything you can to get this baby out, and I've tried every trick that they say not to do, and that baby still won't come out. And then other times when, unfortunately, like miscarriages and things do happen, like I really have a trust in what's going to happen is going to happen. And so it really is coming back to self-responsibility. I can't be responsible for what someone else's choice is.
For sure.
Yeah. And that's just so important. I guess I make it such a thing. It feels like I'm making it a big thing. Because we're so used to giving our power away, and especially during birth. Like, we're told that the doctors are going to be able to tell us what to do, the nurses, the midwives, you know, the obstetricians, you know, they're going to decide if it needs to be this or that, or if you're going to be induced, or on all of those things. And we lose our power so much, and it's not being in our power where a lot of the traumatic stuff happens, because we knew not to do that. We knew not to go along with that. There was something in us that said, no, this isn't right for me, or this isn't right for my baby. So learning from, well, before pregnancy, but at least having a concept during pregnancy that you're checking in with what feels right for you. That's where the empowerment begins. So I know I just took us way off track, but
well, I think it's important, and I think it's very relevant that you do need to actually think about, you know, not every mother is the same, not every journey is the same, and if you feel that I know a massage will benefit you, but you need to listen to your body and to what your baby needs, and if it's right, then it's certainly something that you can accommodate, and if it doesn't feel right, then you know, we'll leave that be.
But getting into the juiciness of a pregnancy massage, oh my God, I wish, like I'd got one, but I wish I just had so many more, especially the Hawaiian style, because, you know, belly's getting massaged, which means baby's getting massaged. And so there is this beautiful, as a practitioner, where I'm going, oh, I've got a 2-on-1 massage happening. Like, there's 2 people on my, you know, my table, and the babies do. Some you can just like feel they're blissing out, and others are just like, when you stop massaging the belly, like, hey, what about me? I want a bit more of that. So it can be an incredibly bonding experience for mother and baby, as well as helping ease away all those aches and pains and doing all those sorts of things. So yeah, for pregnancy, I love it. I know. And for postnatal, here I am again, postnatal.
No, but this is probably the highlight. I think this is the most important. Let's elaborate on postnatal.
Yeah. So, I mean, no matter how you birthed, whether it was naturally, you know, vaginally, cesarean, cascade of intervention, your baby's here, chances are it was quite life-changing.
I was like, choice of words.
I know. And you can feel broken, wide open, like really, like the places you need to be able to go to, there's so much surrendering that goes on. And, you know, talking about the caterpillar and it going into the cocoon and all of it dissolving into the imaginal cells, they call it. So you're not caterpillar and you're not butterfly, you're that gooey mess. And that's how I am, you know, that symbolizes for me that time just after you've given birth where you're just like, blah, there's no story. You're not that, you know, you are just this. And for me, the postnatal treatment helps bring women back into themselves.
Yeah.
It helps gather up all those scattered, fragmented pieces that just kind of went, whoa, and it's like, and which pieces are you reclaiming and coming back into yourself? Which pieces are a part of your motherhood journey? Which pieces, you know, do you want and do you need? So I love being able to do the postnatal treatment and just even energetically feeling how everything is just coming back into this place where you feel whole and grounded, and there's healing, you know, deep healing happening, there's integration happening. And especially if there's been a traumatic birth, being able to do the body work to help let that go so it doesn't stay in there, you know, possibly affecting how you're moving forward as a mother and connecting and bonding with your baby or with your family, or how your family unit is coming back together after this journey. So yeah, I just love it. It's one of the reasons why I started doing pregnancy massage, was so I could do the postnatal massage. It was like, I just want these new mamas on the table, helping them, supporting them in this really fragile state. And so many cultures have the idea of the baby moon and the 4th trimester, you know, where like mama and baba might not leave the house for a month or 2 months. They don't do anything. Like family members come, they clean, they cook. Some cultures, like mum doesn't even leave the bed.
Yeah,
like there's this sense and an understanding, a real inner knowing that something deeply profound has gone on, and that a resting, a recuperation, a re-emerging needs to happen, and that this very fragile and vulnerable time for a lot of mothers. Some are just like back out there doing all sorts of things, but maybe they wouldn't be if they didn't have to. You know, whether you feel like you have to have it or it would just be beautiful to have it, I feel like it's really important for women to be nurtured during that time.
And there's such a huge mind-body connection.
So huge.
So it's, you know, as you said, postnatal depression, and then you're trying to rebuild and you're trying to be a mother. And if you can nurture your body through a treatment, but it's also, there's just this side thing that's happening mentally for you. You know, it just comes back to nourishing you in this experience whilst you are a mum, and that seems to be your new title, and that's what you do. You know, you were still Crystal first, you're still Shakina first. And so rebuilding that is obviously your favourite thing. You became so passionate.
I know, and it can be really hard for new mums to get time away to get these treatments too. Like that's another stumbling block. So that's where the tribe come in, you know, especially if you're still breastfeeding, being able to have your family member, I'm not going to say mom or grandma, I don't want to put it on the women to be the ones who need to do this, having your partner, having your, you know, your brother, your whoever, you know, even other siblings if they're old enough, you know, being able to do that feed or have that time where you know that you can just take an hour, just 1 hour, that could just shift everything back into such a powerful, beautiful, grounded place that really benefits everyone.
So if somebody has had a cesarean, is there like a 6-week period where they're not able to have a treatment? Or I just made that 6-week thing but you know, is there, because I know you said about channeling your body and how you feel, but I mean, they are actually healing from stitches and things like that. Like, are they able to have treatments
absolutely
so close to having their birthing experience?
I mean, I'm not going to be there manipulating where the stitches and stuff are. That's kind of not what you want to do, but at the same time, I would recommend anyone who has had a cesarean or any sorts of stitches that they are at least massaging themselves around, not on top of, but around that wound, because any, you know, stimulation of the circulatory system so that you can get the nutrients and the blood moving through there helps with scar tissue and all those sorts of things. So yeah, I mean, having a cesarean isn't gonna stop you at all. If anything, a cesarean's probably stopped you from doing all of those things you thought you might get back to sooner,
Yeah.
because you're not allowed to even drive.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
Oh, that's good. So everybody can benefit from
everyone can benefit. So you can get massages all the way up until, oh my gosh, I think the baby's coming out and I'm in labor. I mean, women in labor are getting massage, not a full-on Hawaiian style treatment, but you know, like it's just so important. So yeah, there's those treatments that happen, and some beautiful ceremonies that I'm looking at creating to welcome new mothers into the world.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Yeah, and then there's also my the Goddess Birthing Journey package, which is that whole manual that helps explain that rite of passage to women, helps them rewalk that birthing journey so that they can heal and integrate from the experience, no matter what's happened for them, and really no matter how long ago the birth was. They say it can take, like for a normal birth, 2 to 3 years for things to come full circle.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, and that's if nothing's gone wrong or it hasn't felt traumatic.
Yeah.
And if you've gone back and birthed again during that time,
well,
you can compound it. So it really is important to clear it out to make way for whatever's coming next, whether it's a new baby or not. And yes, it's fantastic to do it on the physical level, you know, moving it through the body, but really vital that, you know, like we have our ego, we have our intelligence, we have our mind for a reason. It helps us understand things. So that's why I created that package, which has essential oils and tea. So it's a really nurturing experience. Mums can do it in their own home and fit it in with their busy schedule if they need to. You know, it's something that they can keep coming back to, but it just helps ground it in with that mythology as well. You know, we use the Descent of Inanna. If you haven't read it or heard it, I totally recommend listening to Inanna's Descent. It's a very powerful women's mystery story. That's like one of the first written records in world history. You know, yeah, it's amazing. And the fact that it follows a woman's rite of passage and her journey into the underworld is a very powerful symbol for a birthing rite of passage and the birthing experience.
Can we share some of that info in this? Well, even on the end of the live, like if we put a link to for people to open and read more and learn more.
Let's do that.
Your website will elaborate further on the Goddess package.
Yes, on the Goddess Birthing Journey. It is on my website, and it's also on my Facebook page, Shakina Lee on Knowing Feminine. Yeah. But you know, if you don't feel like searching, just message us in the comments and I can send you off any information. There's a little ebook that's a bit of a taster for what the whole package is, so that can be really nice for some women. So if you want more info or you want that sent out to you, then just let us know. Or
pay it forward to someone who would probably benefit.
Pay it forward.
It's all about helping out the fellow sister.
I know.
We're all about that.
And with our Sharing the Love competition throughout October, like it really is, like the whole premise is about tagging a woman that you love and appreciate or are inspired by. So if there is a new mama going through pregnancy or who's just given birth or, you know, anything like that, then feel free to hop onto the competition link.
Yeah, absolutely.
And tag them. Tell us why they're so amazing. We want to know why they're amazing. We know women are amazing, but it's so good for us to hear it. Going back to the whole lose-lose in society, you know, like doesn't matter what you do.
How amazing is it to feel when someone actually has been tagged and valued? And in front of a lot of people on social media. And they could win
a free massage.
Yeah. Oh my God. Amongst other things.
Other things, but yes.
That's really, it's exciting. I'm very proud of you and what you're offering. And I love it too. And that's what I'm all about. One of my highest values is helping society and linking the right people to the right services. And that's what we've done tonight. So I'm quite happy with how we've gone with our flow.
We always cover so much.
I know. Well, there's so much to cover. And your story is so relatable. And I love when we get to share stories. That's the point, right? I think anybody who is watching or is watching this recording, you know, sometimes you feel alone, but to hear someone else that's gone through it is just super powerful and just has that sense of unity and support and love. And That's why I love this space.
And that's why I love it too. And just knowing that no matter what your experience has been, it can still turn into one of the most powerful gifts of your life. That's what was one of the most traumatic experiences, but it's been one of the biggest gifts for me. And that's what life's about, isn't it? Really being able to turn those things into something that not just heals you and makes you more aware of how amazing you are, but then it gives you medicine that you get to share with the rest of the world.
It's just a growth opportunity.
Yeah, it's just a growth opportunity.
All right. Well, I think there was a few people I didn't get to acknowledge. Oh, my mum put a love heart. Well, she has definitely had a four times birthing journey. Yeah. So I'm sure she can relate, and I should probably pay it forward and bring my mum back down for another massage. But thank you everyone who jumped on tonight, and certainly please like our video. We are very proud of it. Yeah. Share it around, share the love. We'll pop some more links down in the live for you to check out. And we'll see you next week for our final week of October. Yes. Covering more exciting things. But we also want you to be on because we'll be doing the winners. We'll be announcing winners of the beautiful prizes.
Yes, we will be.
Yeah, it's
doing some of the winners, not all of the winners.
Okay, some. Well, some of you will want to be on. All right, we'll leave it there. Thank you.
Bye.